understanding of how we, as individuals, can positively affect change for ourselves and our collective humanity. I am Lois Herman, the author of Chronicles of Hope and the host of the Inspiring Hope radio show on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. You can find me at loisherman.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Welcome to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman, a leading expert in professional coaching, clinical hypnosis, and energy clearing. Lois is an award-winning author of Chronicles of Hope. She has decades of experience in advanced hypnosis techniques, has conducted highly effective success coaching programs that have helped clients discover ways to achieve success, empower themselves, their families, as well as holistic practitioners to expand their practices. Get ready to be empowered with your host, Lois Herman.
Good morning and welcome to Inspiring Hope. I am your host, Lois Herman, and I'm here to inspire you with positive messages and celebrate people who are making a difference in our world. When we focus our thoughts and energies on truth, honesty, and integrity, we create powerful shifts that cause us to be more positive and peaceful. As we lift our energy, we empower everyone around us. If we each do what we can to make small shifts in awareness, we create ripples of hope. Join us as catalysts for positive change for our families, our communities, and our world at large. I hope you're inspired by today's show. And today I want to ask you, what a beautiful summer we're experiencing. I don't know about you, but I noticed the trees are lush, the flowers are blooming, the bees are buzzing, and the birds are singing. What could be more wonderful? Are you enjoying yourselves as you lift your vibe to a higher level of expanded awareness? And many people don't see it, feel it, or hear it. They're stuck in the fear narrative. And yes, there is much to stay informed about going on around us these days. We must be ever vigilant of the challenges and changes we see happening in our world and take appropriate actions without getting caught up in the low-level energy of negative thought and fear-based worry. How do we stay awake and aware without allowing our vibe to be lowered by states of fear, which we know lead to disease? The secrets can be found in the insights we receive if we will only take the initiative to lift our energy and listen with discernment. So how do we listen? How can we gain our own insights? Everyone is capable of communicating with their incredibly wise mind, their intuitive self, their higher power. Whatever your spiritual or religious beliefs are, there are amazing guides who are ever here to help us if we will only ask, believe, and receive. By learning to be present, trusting our inner awareness, and opening our third eye center, we create a state of expanded consciousness. In this state, we can communicate with higher realms of existence. We must learn to quiet our minds, lift our energy to a peaceful state, focus our thoughts, and listen to insights gained in whatever way they come to us. In a few moments, we'll chat with Cheryl Davey. She's in the studio here with me. She's a gifted spiritual communicator who has learned to connect with higher levels of consciousness. She trusts the messages she receives and uses her skills to share insights for others that they may embrace peace of mind. A few years ago, I was honored to receive wisdom from higher realms through an amazing high-level soul named Gary. In a series of channeled sessions, these ancient ones, the Unquietus, shared that it is very unusual for members of the collective to speak directly to humans, as it's difficult for them to lower their energy to match the energy of a human. However, while in a meditative or prayerful state, we can all learn to readily communicate in our minds with the divine collective. These wise ones share infinite wisdom from their expansive spiritual consciousness, which is incredibly valuable for us, especially now. We were given a series of teachings from the Unquietus, who told us we need to reverse the spiral of negative energy and bring the positive energy back. First, we need to inspire hope. People need to love and feel loved. They told us people have been divided by hate and technology. We need to find a way to bring people back together, to lift vibrational energy individually and collectively. After all, we are all one species called human. And there's really so much fear in our world right now, including the fear of speaking out about anything that does not meet the social agenda. Those who speak their truth have been censored, shamed, or accused of wrongdoing for simply bringing opposing opinions as health-aware or patriotic individuals. People with honest intentions and the ability to question are ridiculed for their thinking. This pressure causes people's vibrational energy to lower, and they shut down. This lowered vibrational level, created by negative mindset, causes increased stress, anxiety, depression, and sickness in humans. So how can we create conscious awareness to shift internal distress, to change external reactions so we respond from a place of peace, integrity, and respect? More than a simple act of will, it takes pause, reflection, conscious awareness, self-control, and choosing our actions more mindfully. By thinking, acting, and responding positively, we choose to forgive, accept, and move into a state of grace. We must rise above deadly fear thoughts that are toxic to us on many levels, even physical. There are toxic elements in our food and other substances that disrupt the connection with our pineal gland, blocking our connection with the divine. If we use imagery techniques to shift stagnant energy surrounding this third eye center, we create an expanded awareness. As we reprogram ourselves to be more positive, we shift ourselves to a higher vibe, a higher vibrational energy, and become more able to connect with spirit, with enhanced communication with high-level spiritual guides, including angels, Jesus, and our beloved Mother Gaia. Excuse me. Over time, many of us learn to receive regular, insightful messages, and we allow them to guide our everyday life. So here are some secrets to creating that high vibe energy. 1, create sacred space. Energetically clear your space every day. 2, express gratitude to your guides and to others in all that we do and have. 3, ask for guidance from your guides. They will help us. We must learn to ask. 4, choose health. Make healthy choices for your mind, body, and spirit. 5, sleep soundly. This lowers your vibrational level to restore, reset, so that you can reboot your energy. 6, think peacefully. Release those old negative thoughts and embrace the positive. 7, ground your body. Go out in nature and commune with Mother Gaia, even in your bare feet. 8, gather good friends. Connect with trusted, like-minded friends on a regular basis. As we lift our energy, we affect everyone around us. As we each discover the magic of spiritual connection and share with each other, we grow together to a level of expanded fifth dimension consciousness. When we surround ourselves with like-minded friends without competitiveness, only cooperation and collaboration, we embrace and celebrate one another, ultimately helping humanity to collectively ascend toward a world of peace. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590.live or 95.3 FM. Please help us share these messages. Watch the videos on my YouTube channel or website, loisherman.com, and join our Hope community for support and inspiration at chroniclesofhope.net.
Psalm 91 on eagle's wings. You who dwell in the shelter of the Lord, who abide in His shadow for life, say to the Lord, my refuge, my rock in whom I trust, and He will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of His hand. The snare of the fowler will never capture you, and famine will bring you no fear. Under His wings you'll refuge, His faithfulness your shield, and He will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of His hand. You need not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day. Thousands may fall about you, near you it shall not come, and He will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of His hand.
I just love that song, and it sums it all up. When we raise ourselves, we have nothing to fear. So today, I have a very special guest, a dear friend and a trusted lightworker with an amazing ability to communicate with the great unseen. Cheryl Davey gathers messages to assist herself and others on their journey. She's a gentle, unsuspecting soul with a brilliant light who helps others with her many gifts as she shines the light on the path toward hope. Welcome, Cheryl. I'm delighted you're here with me today.
Thank you so much, Lois. It's a pleasure for me to be here and get out good messages.
Absolutely. That's what we're here, shining the light, right?
Right.
Yeah. And you get good messages all the time, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
But you didn't always get messages, did you? How did that start for you?
No, I was I have to give credit to a particular book. I was ready and searching for new answers and new perspectives. And sometimes it takes going through a challenge to create those opportunities, to look for more inspirational ways of thinking and a way of life. So it was an Angel Speak book by Trudy Griswold and Barbara Mark. It's a small little book, and the title was How to Communicate with Your Angels. And it did not require meditation because I was not familiar with meditation at the time. So I read the book twice, and I said, okay, I'm going to get myself a journal and do the four steps, which really were to say a prayer, take a couple of deep breaths, which you were talking about vibration earlier, and by taking deep breaths, it raises your vibration, and then the angels and your guides and those in heaven lower their vibration, and then when we connect, I hear my name, and then I just start to write whatever comes into my house, into my head, and then I show gratitude after every message.
Absolutely.
So it just keeps the connection flowing. And
yes, because I often say if you give a gift to somebody and they never thank you, do you really want to give a gift to them again? So when we are given these gifts of messages, showing gratitude is key.
Absolutely.
Because the more you share your gratitude, the more they say, oh, she's paying attention.
That's
she
right.
really is listening.
Yeah, and appreciates it.
Yes, and we're
True.
appreciative, and therefore they come through more and more readily. Yeah.
That's right.
It's interesting you mentioned the breath. I just saw a beautiful demonstration on how when we breathe, because I mentioned the pineal gland, when we take a deep breath, we're basically changing, this is physical and physics, we change the energy in our spinal column, and it pushes the energy up to flood the pineal in the spinal column. So it's interesting, there is a physiological response that happens when we take that deep breath, believe it or not. Of course it is. The body's fascinating.
It is.
And how we connect and how we use all parts of our body to raise our vibe, to connect is pivotal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you get this little book and you read it and you do it, and then what was? Do you remember your first message?
I do. My first message was be patient, and it just inspired me to keep writing more. I say, okay, who are these messages from? And they were the next message. I think is we are. The angels that have been around you forever and are always with you. So the messages would build from those two words onto pages and volumes and all kinds of information. And what was interesting was, as I would get a new message, and I'd just keep writing until it stopped, and then I'd go back and read what the message was, it would just inspire more questions.
Sure.
And more questions, and more questions, and more questions. And I realized that developing curiosity, which we've talked about, and developing new ways of asking questions just opens up a whole new world to us.
Absolutely.
And it's being given a gift, and I do call it a gift of curiosity, really opens doors. It really opens new worlds, and there is no question that is off limits to the spirit world.
And that's true and it should be true in all aspects of life. We should never, I often tell people, don't trust me, trust your connection.
Exactly.
Don't trust what other people tell you. And we're experiencing that right now in our world. There are so many people who are saying this is the way it is, and those that question are being censored, which is wrong. We are designed to question. We need to question, and we need to think for ourselves, get our own answers through that divine source.
Right.
And then we can trust. Only then
Exactly.
can we trust. When we learn how to be curious and listen, receive the answers.
Exactly. And if you're reading or hearing information that just does not feel right in your heart or in your belly, really,
Absolutely.
Then pay attention to that, because there's a message there. And that goes back to the trusting. Trust your own judgment, because we are not always readily available to the truth.
Well, the other piece that you and I both know and have become aware of is that there are some not so positive energies. If you've got a lower energy vibe, so on that spectrum of energy, if you're resonating down at the energy of fear, you're going to attract a vibrational being that is based in fear, which is why it's really important to lift your energy so there's a vibrational match with the ones in the unseen world. This is where people who are playing with Ouija boards and asking questions, they're tapping into some dark side. And that is very, very real. People do not realize
That's
that.
right.
It's very real. So now you're getting messages from ones that have a darker shadow interest. And you've got to be careful, which is why discernment is so key. We have to knowingly, consciously work to lift our energy, keep our energy vibe high, and only then can we tap into the higher realms of consciousness. Is that what you've experienced?
Yes. So the angels that I work with and the guides and loved ones who are in the light in heaven, and archangels and all kinds of high vibrational beings are the ones that I resonate with and I work with. I have not. Yes, in fact, I believe there was one time that they came to me with a message like, you don't want to dabble with like the Ouija boards, which we did as a kid, but we didn't know any better, because their way of explaining it is a Ouija board is like opening your front door to anybody and everybody.
Exactly.
And it might be some characters that you're not looking to invite into your home.
It's true.
So, yeah, working with the angels, it's all pure love, the guides, and we are just surrounded by such a vast support system of unseen, truly good and loving and compassionate beings. And that's who you want to work with on your day-to-day life.
Absolutely. And a lot of people are hesitant to ask for help. But, you know, it's kind of, you think of it like if you have a child who asks for help with their homework or with a project, you'd of course you'd want to help them. That's the way the guides are.
Absolutely.
They cannot interfere with our free will. And they're just waiting like, just ask me.
Exactly.
Just hello.
Exactly.
You know, how many times did it with my children? Just ask. I'm happy to help you, but you've got to ask me.
Absolutely.
Without trying to meddle or interfere.
Right.
So that's the same way. Think of them as our kind of spiritual parents.
Right.
That they would give us anything we want, but we have to ask.
Exactly.
And then be open to receive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
An interesting story. A friend of mine had sent me. There's an email that goes around, and you get an invitation to invite the archangels into your home for maybe 5 days or something. And there's a little procedure that you do. You write down what you're looking for, trying to attract. And so I did this little process and welcomed the archangels to my home, and with prayer, of course. And I did a writing about it, and it says, Cheryl, we need a bigger list from you of things to do. So I pictured my kitchen table with these high vibrational beings and loving beings just sitting at my kitchen table like, she didn't give us enough things to do. So I just enjoyed the visual of that. So yes, absolutely. And I don't know if I've said this before, but someone who was nervous about taking a flight for the first time requested like 1,000 angels in the front of the plane, 1,000 in the back, both sides, on both wings, under and above. So you can't ask for anything too big.
No. I used to fly a lot when I was traveling in business, and I always would look out at the wings and see the angels carrying us. It was, that was always my vision.
Yes.
And I would always thank you for carrying, for helping us fly.
That's right.
they're
And it brought you
pros.
peace.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Made me smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always fun to look out the window at the beauty of our earth.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, we live on the most beautiful planet.
Me
Yeah.
too. So.
Yeah, so you have a lot of different stories and different people who come to you with different questions. Do you have a story or two you'd like to share?
I do. As you know, I work with a pendulum. I get answers that first started with either yes or no. And then I started to get a different movement that indicated to me and translated to me as ready for the next question. That would go in a different direction. And then a reverse direction which made confusion on the part of the pendulum. I wasn't asking the question properly. And then a new one came to me not too long ago where it would go back and forth. And I asked them, okay, what does this this motion mean? And I came to learn that it meant that I had a visitor with me, a loving being, always a loving being. And so we'll put that aside for a moment. And I started making plans for a trip. I looked into purchasing an airline ticket and was almost ready to press the button to purchase the ticket. And I said, I better check with my guides and make sure that this is the right thing to do. So I asked the question, is this the ticket I'm supposed to purchase? And it said, and I got that indication. First of all, it said no. And then I got the indication that some guide was there with me. So I waited a couple of days. Then I tried asking the question again. And again, nope, it was not time to purchase the ticket. So I asked, okay, who is the guide that is with me that is helping me to make this decision? Come to find out, it was a trusted friend from heaven whose name I got. It was Richard. And I'd like to read just a very brief synopsis of what this message was to help guide me with this purchase of tickets. So I wrote, Dear Angels and Richard, I thank you for getting my attention tonight with my pendulum while trying to book an upcoming flight with my friend. I'm confused about booking this trip, and what can you tell me about it? The message to me was, hello, Cheryl. Yes, it is Richard. I'm so glad that you realized it was me and that you trust your pendulum so much, and I do. It makes me happy that you and Suzanne are planning to see Paula. And from your standpoint, it might be a little confusing about not being guided to actually purchase the tickets right now. And he said, Cheryl, there is a good reason. There's a lot going on energetically. Let's see, there's a lot of shifting going around, and it will settle. And there, it's best just to wait. And I just want to stress that it said it is not because of any safety reasons. You do not need to be concerned about that. But basically just be patient and check in. So it's a combination of using the energy of the pendulum and the energy with my pen and connecting with my guides and loved ones.
And see, it's an example of you asking an everyday issue. Right. I ask all the time. I actually set my intention every day. Please give me guidance that I may be of service this day. Let me help. Speak through me. Before I come into these radio shows, I always ask, give me the words to say. And practical everyday things. When we have a gut feeling and we're concerned, instead of overriding that gut feeling, because that gut feeling, that's our true communication. Our body is a barometer of messages. We just ignore them. When we're tuned in and tapped in, we get those messages. So I love that this is an example of using our connection with the divine for everyday things. Now, of course, we can't be using them to buy the lottery tickets and stuff like that. No. But the other thing I wanted to ask you, you said you trust your pendulum. Tell us a little bit about that. Some people don't know about using a pendulum. As a hypnotist, that we're taught to use a pendulum right up front for the yes, no, because a lot of people use a pendulum to induce trance. That's one of the ways, like just a swinging object. But you use the pendulum a little bit differently. Can you explain a little bit more about trusting the pendulum and the information that comes from the pendulum?
Yes. First thing I want to say is we are all equal. And I don't want someone to say, oh, I never could do that. I am just a regular person who has learned along the way. I started with the angel writings and then moved on to Reiki and then using the pendulum. And we, through the course of our life, build tools for our toolbox. And we have a number of different modalities that are available to us. So I don't want people to think that they're not capable of doing the same things that you and I are doing. Does it take training? Yes.
Absolutely.
But the trust in yourself and the knowing that you are capable of connecting, of writing, of speaking, of whatever, it's open to all of us. And I think that's very important. So the pendulum, yes, I witnessed someone using a dowsing rod, and I was fascinated by it.
Tell people what a dowsing rod is.
Okay, so this was like an L-shaped dowsing rod, and she would ask energetic questions, and that thing would spin out of control, and it just fascinated me. So I went to a shop locally, and started looking at pendulums because I think a pendulum's easier to slip in your purse than it is an L-shaped dowsing rod. So I started, and the basic thing is to learn your yeses and your nos. And then the third most important skill to learn is to learn how to clear it, because it does need to keep cleared. So anyway, just once someone learns their yeses and their nos, then the world is your oyster. You are fully capable of asking, is this a good option for me? I use it so many times for just making a decision. Should I pick plan A or plan B? And then I trust the pendulum implicitly. However, I also trust my gut, because we work together. And the energy of my own personal energy and the energy of the pendulum work together.
I've often heard it said that the pendulum is an expression of your gut. Oftentimes we don't trust our inner knowing. But the pendulum, because you're holding it you're not guiding it.
Right.
You're just holding it loosely across your hand, and it moves. It's very fascinating. So basically it's picking up on your vibrational frequency.
Exactly.
And it's moving. So it's a visual of what you're feeling.
Exactly.
And so therefore you end up trusting the demonstration of the pendulum, which is basically a connection with yourself, which is connected with the divine.
Right.
Right.
So if you're not used to trusting that emotional trigger that's going on, whether something's good for you or something isn't, then you've got the visible pendulum to bring that out.
Right.
So that's very, very helpful. But talk about everyday uses. I'll even pull things out of my refrigerator and say, okay, is this still good or is this not? Because I'm known for having like little things stuck in the back of my refrigerator.
Oh, yes. I do a dowsing using my body. Have you heard of that?
Where
you can hold something in front of you and you lean toward it. Your body will lean toward it if it's good for you, and lean and push away if it's not. And I will do that if I'm purchasing something at the store. Is this good for me? Or my refrigerator. I'll pull something out. Is this a little bit too past the date?
Right. Exactly.
And my body will intuitively just push away. Yeah. Okay. Well, nope. I'm not gonna eat that. Or different types of medications, or just over-the-counter meds. I've been known to go through and choose which one my body wants.
Exactly.
We have to slow down. You can do that. I've had many clients who come in that have been through different medical procedures, and they've got like a dozen different medications. And unfortunately, many times they're seeing multiple different doctors.
Right.
So there's not one doctor that's overseeing all of the meds. So they can go through and douse with a pendulum or with their body which ones they really need, and you can actually get down into the minutia of how many times, the dosage, and whether it's morning or night. You can get clear information, and many times people will go through, get this information, and then consult a doctor, and come to find out, oh yeah, I really don't need that anymore. It's pretty fascinating. The body knows. We just need to trust. So the pendulum is one way of trusting.
Exactly.
It's a skill. You're right. It's a skill. Everybody can learn. It's just like we can all learn to ride a bike. We can learn to cook something really amazing or drive a car. We just have to take the time, the practice to learn it. So you have acquired the skill over time.
I have. and it's something that is continuously evolving.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I started with yes and no. Now I've got almost 5 different symbols out of one swinging little, piece of something on. You could use a string. Like, you don't have to have a crystal. You can take something like
your beautiful necklace.
my necklace.
Yes.
Exactly. If you don't have a pendulum, you don't have to carry a pendulum. But yes, you can use a paper clip on the end of a string if you want to, as long as it's done, in a certain way.
With the right intention.
Exactly. Exactly. All positive energy.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. It's helped me many, many times. Like you said, in the store. I remember being in a bookstore, do I buy this book or this one? And it was very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It helps with that confusion.
It does.
Many of us are undecided. We have a lot of indecisive opportunities, and it's sometimes hard to, is this the right decision or not?
That's right.
So that's a wonderful tool to add.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it gives you peace of mind because you're connecting with an outside source that knows you very well and knows what's best.
Right.
And
I know you brought up, when we were talking the other day, you brought up the story of the 2 wolves. And the pendulum is a wonderful tool to help you discern which wolf to pay attention to, right?
Exactly.
Can you tell the story?
I will. Yes,
Awesome.
I'd be happy to. So this came across, I don't know, an email many years ago, and every once in a while it pops up again. And it just, the initial time I heard it, it created one of those aha moments that we all are chasing all the time. And for an aha moment, for anyone that isn't familiar with one, you'll know it when you have one, that's for sure.
I call them God winks.
Yes,
it's sort
that's
of like,
a great name too.
Pay attention. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you go about your life, and either you ask for something, pray for something, and it happens almost immediately, or something that helps you to understand why you've been given a certain situation when you're very confused about it. And then when you get that piece of wisdom, the lights go on. That's your aha moment, or your God wink moment.
Yes.
So this is one that I'll just share. It's very short. So it's called The Tale of 2 Wolves. And it says, one evening, an elderly Cherokee brave told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside people. He said, "My son, this battle is between 2 wolves inside us all. One is evil, or regretful, or greedy, or resentful, or has an ego to it. The other wolf is good. It is joy and peace and love and hope and serenity and kindness and compassion." So the grandson thought about it for a minute, and then he asked his grandfather, "Which of these wolves win?" "Ah," he said, the old Cherokee simply replied, "The one that you feed." I got goosebumps.
The one that you feed.
The one that you feed, the one that you listen to the most. So I thought, oh my gosh, there's always those, well, use the words in there, the wolves. You've got one on one shoulder, one on the other, and both trying to lead you in a particular direction. And, it's your choice which one you choose to listen to. But knowing that you've got both, they can, the good can offset the less.
Yes, and the one is hopeful and uplifting.
Absolutely.
And why not?
It's always a choice.
It is always a choice.
Yes.
The challenge is we have been programmed to follow the mean wolf. I'm going to call them the mean wolf and the uplifting wolf.
Okay.
And so the mean wolf, that is the one that we've been programmed, that we've been injured by, that lower our energy. That's the low vibe wolf.
And I think affects us the most.
It does. So we have to heal. We have to go through forgiveness. We have to heal and rise above that. It's not about ignoring it. It's about acknowledging that we've all been through, as you said earlier, we've all been through different stresses and challenges.
Absolutely.
And as we go through it and we learn from it, then we heal, and that's when we can embrace the uplifting, the high vibe, which is where once you get into that high vibe energy, you don't really want to go back in that low vibe.
Right.
When you do, and things happen. We live we're human, so we have situations that happen where we're back in a low vibe. What happens though is like, okay, this feels really yucky. I don't want to be here anymore.
Right.
So we've learned skills, tools, and ways to pop right back out of it.
Exactly. I think we've learned to recognize on a quicker level when the negative comes in, and as soon as you do, then you have the opportunity to shift it.
Exactly.
To nope, I don't want to go in that direction. I want to be, positive and not pay attention to the negative. But the
nasty
awareness,
wolf,
the awareness is so key, and that's a gift in itself as well. Awareness to what you choose and what you would prefer to choose.
And the awareness also comes with surrounding yourself with like-minded friends. When we're around people who are so negative and they tend to tear you down and berate you, or they're just caustic, they're stuck in their own drama.
Stuff, right.
And when you kind of limit your exposure, again, toxic can be so many things. Toxic can be watching the news. Toxic can be being around people who are low vibe individuals because they lower your energy. Toxic can be food, there's so many different ways that the toxic affects us. But you and I both know that when we're around high vibe people and we end up being exposed to something toxic, there's nothing better than being able to text or pick up a phone and talk with a high vibe friend who listens from the heart without any condemnation or accusation. And this is when you surround yourself with that high vibe. I call them my 5D community. You're in fifth dimension. You've got people who've got your back, truly. And then they can uplift you. And then some days then they're down and you can uplift them. It's that wonderful balance of people who truly are connected in that higher level, right?
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. And for people that aren't sure about, the term high vibrational, it's just a matter of positive energy. We've all been in places, like you mentioned, where you can feel that something's not right, and it's less than positive energy.
Right. Just limit your exposure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So do you have any interesting messages with everything that's going on in our world today? Have you received any fascinating messages through some of your questions and queries?
I have. It is all good. As much as we see in the media, so much negativity and fear being portrayed, they just want us to know that everything is truly, truly going to be all right. They said, you are safe, protected, and blessed because of your energies and everything that those of us and everyone is doing to just try to get away from the negativity. They truly want us to focus on our own lives and bringing more positive energy into it, and let them in the angelic world and the guides take care of the negativity. The more we get immersed in it, the more it just drags us down. And we're here. We came here because we wanted to. Our soul needed some lessons to learn, and we came here to be joyful spiritual beings. So I think any ways that we can serve with joy. I have a little routine in the morning. I put healing oils to boost my immune system on my feet. I use thieves, the young living thieves on my feet. And then I just go about my prayers and I said, God, how can I serve with joy today? 'Cause that is really what I choose my intention to be.
I'm gonna add that to my
intention. It's not even how can I serve, which is what we all want to do,
right.
But to serve with joy, like put a smile on someone's face, or I don't know, just be friendly, or whatever it ends up being in your life. But to serve with joy is my daily practice.
Thank you.
Yes.
May I adopt that as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You do it anyway.
We all learn from each other. And
Absolutely.
that's the beauty of surrounding ourselves with like-minded, inspiring people. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So one of the things that is, if each of us keeps our vibe high, then collectively we're shifting the energy of the planet. Many of you have heard of what's called the Schumann resonance, which is the resonant frequency of Mother Gaia, the actual energy of Earth. And as she says, we are all part of her. She is us. So as we each choose to lift our energy, regardless of what's going on around us, we can exponentially join together in lifting the energy of the consciousness of our planet, the unseen. And that's what we're doing. And it feels good. And the more we do it, the more inspired and the more inspiring we become.
I agree with that. And when I was reading different books, there was an Eckhart Tolle book that I read. I can't remember the name of
The
it
Power
at
of
the moment.
Now?
No, the other one, A New Earth.
Okay.
Was it A New
Yep.
Earth? Yeah. So the word consciousness was a word that was used throughout the book. I found that to be confusing. I understand it now, but if there's anyone that hears consciousness as a word that is used over and over again, and they're not quite clear about it, basically it's another word for awareness.
Awareness, yes.
Exactly. So I just want to explain that to someone who may be newly listening today, because, some of the terms can be a little confusing because there's so many different kinds of consciousness, but basically use it as awareness. I think that's
Absolutely.
very helpful. Yeah.
And Cheryl's one of the people who is on our Lightworker team. We've been meeting there for months. We met twice a week. And we've been bringing this awareness, this elevated consciousness to our energy of our planet, to humanity. It started off with clearing a lot of negative. And now it's more bringing light. We do this uplifted journey together, and each person has their own insight that they gain based on their imagination, based on their connection with the divine.
Right, and their gifts, right?
Isn't it fascinating how when we all come together afterwards, after we've gone on this collective journey, and then we coalesce together and send love and light, and then when we come back into our physical awareness, how similar the messages are.
There's a theme.
There's always a theme.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
So right now the theme is about using the animals.
Yes.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier about animals and how connected they are.
Exactly.
They're high vibe, you know. As we were talking about the cats are Zen masters, Jessica was saying that, Jasmine, I want to call you Jessica. I'm not sure why. Jasmine was saying that, that cats are experts at setting boundaries, and many of us humans need to learn that. We definitely do. Time to pet me, time to leave me alone.
Right. And you and I laugh all the time because we are Heartland watchers.
Oh,
I know you've
yes.
already made it through all the seasons. I have not. I think I'm on season 10. But that show on Netflix is fascinating to me about reiterating the strong relationship between people and the horses.
Yes.
And how they can pick up on your emotions, and how you can just develop such an incredible trust with them.
Right.
And I've had dogs that are the same way. I had a wonderful Westie that was very intuitive, and she was crazy, but she was very intuitive and responded to Reiki in an incredible way that I used to use her. Now that I think about it, thank you. I would use her during a Reiki training class because I wanted someone to physically witness the effects of Reiki. So I would, at the time, I did a couple of classes out of my home. So I'd call over Maddie. I said, okay, I want you to sit and I want you to witness this. So she would react in a way that she would stay perfectly still, and she'd kind of go back and forth, and she'd sit down, and then she'd go back and forth, and she'd lay down, and then she was just sprawled out on the floor in this total relaxation. And it was just an incredible thing to witness, and I could count on it every single time.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just a random thing. She really did respond. So she became a Reiki teacher.
Yeah, because they're not in their heads like most humans are.
Right.
They're in their feeling intuitive bodies. And that's where we need to come down. We need to use our intelligence, but couple it with our energy centers, with all of the chakras, with the heart and the gut, and just really ground ourselves into our knowing, our true knowing.
Right.
And I know dogs are incredible. We have a dear friend who has a brand new little puppy that we've checked in on the energy of this little puppy, and this is a wise little old warrior soul. You know, you don't think about animals being spiritually evolved,
beings, right?
And they are. You start hearing people tell stories about how the animals have saved different people. They're incredible. So that our most recent journeys have been about the animals, paying attention to our animals, learning from, bonding with, connecting with the spirit of the animals on our earth.
Absolutely.
Because we are all part of them.
Right. When our family dog Maddie went to heaven, after 16 years, we had her from a puppy at, I think, 6 or 8 weeks. And I immediately, after a couple of hours after she had gone, I got my journal out, and got a message from her that was the most beautiful and telltaling explanation of her purpose with us. So I invite people to go to my website to read the message from Maddie, and it's called Whispered by Angels, WHISPERED by ANGELS.net. You can also get there by Cheryl, CHERYL, M like Mary, Davey, DAVEY.com. Cheryl M. Davey.com will take you to the same website as whisperedbyangels.net. And it's a beautiful story, beautiful, beautiful message from Maddie. And I just stress to everyone is capable of connecting. And you brought something up that triggered a thought. It's a matter of combining the mind with the spirit, and the mind with your heart. And that's what opens doors. That's what creates the curiosity. That's what opens doors. And it doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to think you were born from a Zen master or anything like that. It's just for simple, everyday people here living their lives and trying to create as much joy as possible.
And it comes to different people in different ways. I know when
true.
I first started getting my messages, I would think a thought, and then I would dismiss it, and I would feel something on the back of me going, pay attention, like a nudge, pay attention. I'm like, that can't be right. That can't be right. So, and then finally I started just saying what I thought. And the person would go, wow. To me, it made no sense. But to the person that I was sharing it with, it made all the sense in the world. So after a few of those moments, I now, the time that I'm the most intuitive is when I'm doing Reiki. And I will get, I think it's because I'm out of my head and I'm truly tapped into the energy. And then the inspired energy thought or stories, messages come through. And it's really a treasure to be able to share those messages with others. And that's a lot of what you do is you tap into people's energy and you get messages for people, right?
Exactly. Yes. And the nice thing is the message that comes through for that person is perfect and unique for that person. I truly do tap into their angels and their guides and get the message that that person is intended to get.
For that moment in time.
For that moment.
Because it changes.
Yes. Absolutely. That's key to bring up. Thank you. Because 5 minutes from now, things could change. On the other hand, a message that I've done for different friends and clients and that type of thing the messages have been pulled out 2 and 3, 10 years after the fact, and they pick it up and they read it and they said, Cheryl, I just found in my nightstand the message that you did for me 3 or 4 years ago, and it's perfect for right now. So somehow the words are timeless. They always apply because we're not even the same person we were yesterday than we are today because we've learned something or we've experienced something. So the messages are such that it's absolutely perfect.
Well, we're coming to an end of today's show. Thank you so much,
You're
Cheryl
welcome.
Davey,
This has been so
for being
fun.
here. This has been wonderful.
Thank
and
you.
Please reach out to Cheryl at whisperedbyangels.net. Until next week, look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day. God
Thank
bless.
you.
Thank you, Cheryl.